Recording. It's like, hi, this is a recording. And
You ain't say that you had beef with Blue Cheese?
All right, welcome back to Beef with Blue Cheese. This is the Lucy Ford Atmosphere's Lucy Ford episode, and let's see. Let's pull up some facts to this.
Yeah, I know a lot of facts about it.
You pulled up a lot of facts. All right, so
Yeah, I knew a lot of facts. Now I know a lot more facts.
yeah, I looked up some more. It's fun. It's fun
Yeah.
doing this because I learn about these albums that I thought I knew a ton about, and this one I'm probably more well versed in this album than most albums that have ever existed.
Yeah, most of these albums certainly well versed in. Know a lot of the backstory.
Right. So came out in 2001.
Yep, 2001.
What? Was it November?
I don't know. Something like
Yeah,
that, sure.
I think it was November, yeah. So didn't remember it coming out so soon after 9/11, if that was the case.
Yeah, because we definitely didn't hear it right away. I don't think I heard Lucy Ford until probably the next year.
Let's see.
Yeah.
I probably could figure that out, but I feel like we were I was almost
Maybe right on it. It may have been
waiting
close.
for this album to come out.
Okay.
I think
Yeah, I don't remember. I mean, 21 years ago. I'm misremembering a lot of stuff.
yeah. I think let's see. I'm looking up on Wikipedia. I lived before, but now I'm
because
refreshing.
I had the Headshots tapes when I went to school at Delhi, and that was in 2001.
Okay.
So I had to have known about it before then. So we knew
what-
about
what-
Headshots, and then
Yeah.
we heard Lucy Ford after that.
Right. So
Yeah.
this was not November. This was February. So it was pre. That was why
That's why.
pre 9/11, which is
Yeah.
why. I mean, it definitely. I was thinking about we just did DeKalb. That was November. I think I was thinking about.
Yeah.
I was thinking DeKalb.
Yeah.
So that makes more sense. I was almost embarrassed of myself to not realize because like anything that would have happened a month or 2 months after 9/11, I probably would have been pretty deeply associated with.
Yeah,
with
absolutely. And I was at community college at that point. That was my third
Yeah.
school, just blowing through them every semester, just deciding where to go. So because I was during 9/11, I was in school on Long Island. So yeah, definitely heard Lucy Ford. Pre that.
Yeah, me too. So it was definitely within the year. It was definitely 2001. Yeah, I'm certain that I was aware of this album even in March 2001. I remember specifically in March 2001.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Hearing this album. But what I never really understood the EP thing. So there was I own the Lucy Ford 1 and Lucy Ford, or the Lucy. It was the one of the two EPs that this is supposed to be.
Yeah, I think it was like a joke.
combination.
It was just like an inside joke because they just
Ford 1,
Yeah.
Ford 1 and Ford 2.
Yeah, and they're like, let's just release 2 EPs and just make it a joke because it's a full length album.
Right, but there is a Lucy Ford, there is a Ford 1 or Ford 2 record that have a few songs on them. They don't even have to me, I don't understand why. And then so I was reading Wikipedia claims that it was a compilation of those two and then something called the Lucy EP, which never actually existed. The Lucy EP there's never a copy of the Lucy EP anywhere.
Yeah, I wonder if that's all the songs that were left over from Overcast, because I know like Party for the Fight to Right and Guns and Cigarettes, that was leftover songs that they wrote during Overcast, but Slug didn't want them on the album because he thought there were too many solo tracks for him, and that was back when Spawn was in the group. Right. And Spawn was actually the MC and Slug was supposed to be the DJ. That's how they started. Slug was actually the DJ and Spawn was the MC before Ant even got there, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember hearing that. Yeah. So
Yeah.
literally but Ant was going to be a producer, then Slug was going to be a DJ, and then
Yeah.
Spawn was going to be. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
thank God they worked that out.
Yeah, they reversed roles there, and that worked out for the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's those. It's funny because Overcast really is even still almost a solo.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a lot of Spawn even on that album, but what I find funny is that those songs wouldn't even really. They definitely fit Lucy Ford. All those extra songs.
Yeah, it just makes me think like he wrote a bunch of them like at the end, like when he was really starting to get into like hating himself and hating women, just like that whole part of his life where he wrote like these 3 albums, the 3 albums after that.
Boastful.
Yeah. So I think they definitely fit Lucy Ford better, but I believe they were Overcast cast-offs.
Yeah. It's I just don't. It's just hard to find. Like anytime I go through the albums on Apple Music, it's like you scroll down through the albums and it doesn't show up because then you have to go down it goes down to compilations. That's where it shows up. I'm like, come on, give me a break.
Very strange.
There's 15 songs on this album. There's no rhyme or reason. Terrible marketing, in my opinion, for like, But I guess they had their reasons. I don't know. Maybe it was.
I mean, it was the whole.
Out of like.
Yeah, I mean, the whole Rhyme Sayers entertainment was all about like going against the grain. It was about being not cool and about being so much against the mainstream music that they probably just did it as a joke just to screw around with people that, hey, we're putting out this double EP or we're putting out this compilation album that really is just people in the group.
Right. Yeah. And I remember when this first album came out, I was reading reviews on like message boards and stuff like that, and people are like, "Oh, Atmosphere is so like radio friendly. It's so commercial now." And I'm like, I love maybe, but they're great songs. Like, I would love to hear these songs on the radio. Are you kidding me? But I guess different than like what they had before was because Overcast was like a little bit darker, and
they don't even classify that as an Atmosphere album, like their first album. Technically, like if you look at if you look it up, like Lucy Ford is technically their first album, which makes no sense because Overcast clearly was.
Yeah, before.
I mean, it says Atmosphere on the cover, so.
Yeah. I don't know, but anyway, so this was. I was so excited to listen to this album. Again. Like I said, I listened to it 3 times just today, and I was just like. I was busy with my hands, and it ended, and it just started again. And I was like, all right, let's do it again. Literally one after another. I just
let's roll with it.
Yeah.
And this is an album that is good top to bottom, no breaks. Even some of the slower songs. It was like the first introduction to somebody who told stories outside of Nas that we covered in like the last episode. Yeah. But I mean, he changed just my whole perception of rap music and what people can do lyrically. And he was like, I mean, just what he did from a philosophical standpoint and what he did with like, just the poetic style that he had.
I'm almost, sometimes I get embarrassed listening to this album because of how much I loved it and how much I love the poetry aspect of it.
Yeah, but absolutely.
So it was, you're looking at 2000, 2001, 20, 21 years old, maybe, a little bit too old to be so like emotional towards a rapper but like this was the first time the lyrics were like, man, these lyrics really speak to me, like these really, because we were talking about finding Method Man really changed our opinion on rap music. That was when we really changed direction of what we wanted out of rap music. But like this album and Atmosphere, and I've told this to people, and it's like it's embarrassing, but it is the truth. Like literally changed my life. Like it changed how I felt comfortable being about. Like this guy is just completely himself. He's rapping about the things he knows about, and like it just I think it hit me towards the end of a breakup in my life, and it was like there's a lot of stuff about love on here, and so perfectly timed for my life for this album to come into my life was perfectly timed.
And the whole Lucy story, where he kind of came up with that, and it was never really about a woman. It was about all women. It was about him, and I think he even went as far to say like Lucy is just the woman devil, like Lucifer, Lucy Ford, is just the woman devil, and it's everything in his life. It's him. It's and then it refers to God on the album also being a woman. At some point, that's a running theme in his, But what was I going to say about that? Yeah, so. Oh, the Lucy thing. Like I was so confused at that age.
there was so much like underground rap that was referring like to like Lucy. It was like this, and then there was Aesop Rock. Lucy was 7 where I had a blue berets, and then Idea had a song that was like he rapped about Lucy, and I'm like, what's going on? Like, what's the story? Like, I've never. What's this Lucy business all about? What does Lucy mean?
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't even know if Slug started it. It's very possible because I think Labor Days came out after. I'm not really sure, and Idea's album came out after, but
yeah. No, it definitely came out after.
Yeah.
This was I was realizing today. So we saw Atmosphere shortly after this album came out.
Okay.
Before God Loves Ugly came out, we saw between Lucy Ford and God Loves Ugly release, we saw Atmosphere at least 3 times. I think 4.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Because we saw him shortly after this album came out, and then I remember being at a live show when he performed Scapegoat. Before he did it a cappella before there was even an album that was on God Loves Ugly, so I never heard that. So, and that was at the Warsaw, which was at least the 3rd or 4th place I saw him. So, anyway, this is for nobody, but I didn't look up the years in movies. I meant to, but then I didn't. But actually, I did, and I was scrolling through. I'm like, this was a terrible year for movies.
I think that's when a lot of the films started going to shit. Just like these.
Yeah, the 2000s, like the 2000s was.
They were not good. No,
it was not good.
As soon as I went into film school, everything went to shit, and then, my whole life was consumed by 70s films and 60s films and 90s films.
I just googled it quick. Like 2001 popular movies. Out Cold is the first thing that comes up. Comedy. Donnie Darko apparently came out this year.
Okay.
If I'm to believe.
Yeah, there's some of that weird indie stuff.
Yeah, there's Freddie Got Fingered. How can we forget Freddie Got Fingered came out?
Yeah, I mean Tom Green.
Again, great year for film. That's the mindset you're in. You were, I'm 21. You were, I guess, you were in college.
Yeah.
Great album for somebody going into college to have in their pocket. By the way.
Yeah, and
this is like
I was like, oh man, I always like try to impress girls with it. I was like, man, you got to listen to this guy. Listen to the way he talks.
Yeah. So put on Woman with the Tattooed Hands.
Yeah, like that was it.
You can really relate to this, right? Because you're a woman.
Yeah, I definitely have this on a few times. And it's not to say that it worked. I think I just put it on after, and so it brings back some good memories.
Good memories. Good. Yeah. It's good to have those.
Yeah.
If I have to think about like if I was gonna try to turn somebody on to Atmosphere, what song off of this album would I pick? Mm-hmm. Like because you could go in a direction. You have to also what do they want, but I feel like you could pick a couple of different songs off of this.
It depends upon the person. I think if you're introducing different people, like someone who likes harder, like I would say like more bass type. I mean, Tears for Sheep would probably be one of the ones I would.
Right. Yeah, but I feel like Woman with the Tattooed Hands, and maybe I'm speaking specifically about women. Like anytime I would try to get like a woman into Atmosphere, I was like, you gotta like this is the song for you.
Yeah, I specifically remember driving to the beach at like midnight.
Yeah. And
playing the song in my Jeep and just striking out miserably. Yeah.
And then they're like, all right, this is like, I want to meet this guy. I want to hook up with this guy. And not
yeah.
you.
No.
Like,
not.
That's the thing about introducing people to music. Or like, trying to gain popularity or some type of thing from like you act like you wrote it. You're like this is like see the stuff that I'm that I know that you don't know. It's like okay, but you didn't write stuff.
Yeah, but I'm cool enough to know about it. That's the most important thing about this is that like don't you like me more by the simple fact that this is like the music that I listen to. Yeah. It's so profound.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
I'm a deep.
Like
yeah.
If I met somebody that was into like something cool, I'd be like all right, yeah, I like you more. You like cool stuff. Yeah.
And never fucking worked. Not once. Not with Atmosphere, at least.
No.
I don't know. Let's get into it.
I'm gonna
hit.
Play. Yeah, just to start.
Just another album. As soon as that comes on, I'm amped for the next hour.
No part of the song was a slight introduction.
Yeah. Just the way he starts it off.
Yeah, so smooth, jazzy.
And I guess Ant didn't produce this whole album either, which I did not know about.
It was one song I saw at the end.
Yeah.
That
Anticon, like didn't Anticon produce a song or what the hell was it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Mood Swing.
And then LP produced the last song, which was like almost
Yeah.
like not even. It was like a bonus thing because it's like on the. It's like you have to wait a while for it to kick.
Yeah,
in.
it's like the
there's
bonus track.
there's
Yeah.
dead space, and then it pops in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Between the Lines. I have the T-shirt for this song. There's a Between the Lines T-shirt. It has like a cop and a girl on it. And then actually, I don't have it anymore. I turned all my old Atmosphere T-shirts into a quilt. Did I tell you that? I had so many Atmosphere T-shirts, and I made a quilt out of them. It's actually not just Atmosphere. It's just mostly Atmosphere. But then there's like other rap albums. But
Okay.
yeah, it's like a really cool. If I was in college, it'd be awesome.
Yeah, you might get laid.
But yeah, I think this is my favorite album to sing along to of all time. This is the most fun album to rap along to, mostly because I know the words to this album more than any other album.
Yep.
I think because it's kind of slow, I can understand it. Like I understand all the lyrics to it. So
Yeah,
it's
and I listen to this off and on all the time, so it's not like I haven't listened to this like within the
20
past
years.
couple of months. Yeah, so
Yeah.
and every time I turn it back on after like even like a 3 or 4 month break, I know every lyric. It's not even up for debate. Like it's not even like I
Everything.
forget
Yeah,
stuff.
no,
I remember every single lyric. I remember
Yeah.
every single beat, every single break, everything.
yeah, and then I probably have gone, I don't know, 8, 9 months before since I listened to this album, and I've probably at times gone longer than that, but it always pops up, and then I'll listen to it for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
It'll be in a heavy rotation. But yeah, like you said, even no matter how long you take a break, it's just instantly just pick up, know every single word, and it's like it's definitely
It's just hardwired.
comfort album. Yeah.
Yeah. And if this is the first song that you heard from him, you're instantly hooked because you're like, okay, this is like something I can get down with as far as the
Right.
beat goes. And then
If
you
you're
hear
gonna
him
like
rap. Yeah. And then you hear
Yeah.
him and you're like, this guy is different. Like there's something different about
Yeah.
him. Just like he's
Yeah.
not creating a voice. He's being,
Yeah.
you can tell he's being himself. And he's not shoehorning anything. Like he's just telling a story every single time.
Uh-huh.
And it's just magnificent.
Yeah. So what did I hear? We heard before this. We heard
We heard some headshot
Primer?
stuff. We heard Primer. We heard Scapegoat. We heard that one song that was on that mixtape.
I think God's Bathroom Floor. I think we might. Even
Yeah,
heard
God's
before this,
Bathroom
right?
Floor.
Didn't that predate that? And then that one on the mixtape, heavy
Yeah.
metal. On the
Heavy
mix-
metal,
Yeah,
yep.
that was it.
Yep.
So there wasn't a ton of, stuff coming in. Like I remember, I
Yeah.
spent on one night. I stayed up one night. I downloaded a bunch of stuff on Napster,
Yeah.
which is like
Remember that.
Say what you will about Napster, like stealing me. Like this is
Yeah.
literally, I have given Atmosphere more money because of Napster. Like I got into him because I had access through Napster.
Yeah.
And since I've seen him 20 times or them 20 times, I've bought every T-shirt, records, like so.
Certainly
you just have to be good enough.
paid him back over the years for all the stuff that I stole,
Stuff that I stole
in the
yeah,
early 2000s.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, there's stuff that I bought 2 of just to like. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna keep one just in case the other one gets
Yeah.
lost. Buy the vinyl, buy the
One to rock,
shirts,
one to stock.
everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Uh-huh.
Just because I just out of like, okay, this guy's just putting out stuff every
Yeah.
week it seems, so I need to support
Yeah,
him.
I had a non-sexual crush on Slug. There's no other way to put it. Like I just thought he was the coolest. Just go to see
Even
him,
when we
like,
met
listen
him,
live.
Yeah, like
Cool, yeah.
you have this like super like I'm like, okay, I'm gonna meet this guy. He never lived up to expectation. Lived up to every expectation. He was the coolest guy. Talked with
cool.
us every single time. Even like
Yeah.
signed the merch and got us to the front of the line, and was
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, let me get. These are my guys. These are my guys, and like gave us
Yeah.
the shirt because he saw us a
Uh-huh.
few times, and he's a
Yeah.
genuine human. Yeah, he's a good dude.
Yeah, yeah, and also I think it's helped that we never drank at the shows and like tried to like drunkenly like elbow up to him, so,
No.
because he raps about that a lot, and I feel like that's not what he's looking for. This song,
Yeah, I think this is the first song I heard on this album. This is it
Yeah.
because you had this song on a mixtape, and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" This dude's like, the dude's like talking about whacking off, and like
just
right when
a
he wakes
day,
up,
just a day in the life,
and he
of-
goes through it goes through the whole day.
perfect.
Yeah,
Make my way to the kitchen, start the coffee. Then dip to the back room, begin the triple S and wash the previous evening off me now. Out the shower, get dry, shove a Q-tip in my ear. Well, what do we have here?
Not complicated rhymes at all. By the way.
No.
Like he's a better rapper than he is on this album. It's like very like simple. Like there is some complex stuff on this album for sure.
Yeah.
And, there's some actually very like a couple, really impressive parts, but for the most part, just smooth. Just like.
Yeah, like he's just talking, but it just happens to rhyme, and it happens to be going along with the beat perfectly. Yeah. And I think that's what made it's what made me, but I think that's what made us just so attracted to him as an artist.
Yeah.
Is just he's something special.
Yeah. And I feel so lucky to have to meet somebody it's so funny like we talk about music and like it's always like we heard this, we like this, and it's like we shared every
pretty much.
We always talked about like we liked metal before this, like we were like big into like metal and like we both like that, and then we were like we switched into liking rap music at the same time, and it was like a very symbiotic.
Yeah.
Like we shared it so it was like very cool to have somebody to, because one of the things about finding somebody who isn't, and now he's much bigger than he was now, but at the time, he wasn't, he didn't have.
No, I mean they were 1,000-seat shows.
Yeah, so it felt really personal.
Yeah.
To you. Like you felt like you had your own little thing, which I think is a big part of when I say he changed my life. Part of that was realizing like, oh, there's more than what is being handed to you, like is being fed to you. So like if you dig a little bit deeper, you can find stuff that you really means a lot more to you. It really relates to you a lot more. So just as far as like art, so like this kind of led me on a path of being obsessed with like, oh, if I didn't know that this guy existed, like I need to keep finding more people like this that I love, and that's been going on for 20 years.
Yeah, and he was just like the catalyst for that. So it was like we first. I guess maybe it was Lyricist Lounge, maybe that first.
Yeah, but
and then
that was very short lived, and that only that got me to
just that one mixtape.
Yeah, that got us to him really quickly.
Yeah, and then we're like, okay, so who else is on his albums, and then who else does he know, and then that led to A$AP Rock, and
the Rhyme Series record label helped a lot, and then, and I always felt a little bit of pride to be like, yeah, my favorite rappers come from Minnesota, and people would be like, what, Minnesota? I'm like, most of my favorite rappers come from Minnesota.
Yeah,
that's just to be different. Like when you're a kid, you're not popular, you want to be different somehow. So like looking for any reason. Yeah.
And I thought everybody from Minnesota knew him. So I remember when I went out there for like 2 weeks when my company used to be based there, and I went there during the winter. I went to St. Cloud, and I'm like, oh, you guys listen to Atmosphere? No clue who I was talking about. I'm like,
really?
How do you not know this? Wow. I'm like, I was very disappointed because you think like someone like that, like people from Minnesota, to be proud of this dude or this group from Minnesota.
I went to a Vikings game in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And when I was there, like on the thing, they were playing Atmosphere on the thing. And
I remember that.
Say shh.
Yeah, and that was later on. See, I think I went in like 2004. 2004, maybe 2005 is when I went out there.
So, let's hear the beginning of this. Because this is like a real...
Yeah.
Such a change. One of the smoothest songs to,
And there's lines in this that are my favorite lines. I'm a roll a couple of boulders off the cliff.
The way he rolls that off his tongue, rolled a couple of boulders off like that.
Like it's just so.
And then the woman's, the sampling of the woman singing on this is, it's so contrast to like this is one of the harder beats on the album. So, but yeah.
Yeah, if you keep this on towards the end, one of my favorite lyrics of all time.
Towards the end of it?
Yeah, middle end.
I was thinking, what I want to start doing in this podcast, and it's gonna get. I think you need to put in more work, because right now I'm just kind of like bouncing around.
Yeah.
Sit down and listen to it with like a pen or something like that, and actually take notes on the times.
Yeah.
And then play, because there's definitely parts of these albums that we're missing that I want to hear. So like I want to take note and like.
This right here. This is it. Yeah.
Yeah. This is it.
That whole line, the whole thing,
Yeah.
it's perfect. I mean,
Yeah.
and he doesn't stop. Like he doesn't take a line off.
Yeah.
The whole song.
Yeah. It's like I feel like I keep having to pull it down just because it's
Yeah.
if you play it too long, it's gonna get pulled. It's gonna get pulled
Yeah.
anyway. This is not gonna happen. This is not gonna.
No.
I'm not gonna be able to put these on YouTube. But we'll have to put them on Dropbox and then just share the links to,
Yeah.
to Facebook and listen
Something
to
like
our
that.
podcast. It's on Dropbox.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we next is
Yeah, and then I'm like, oh, this is my favorite song again. The next song,
the next song.
Guns and Cigarettes.
I mean, you could say I have so many times that pops.
I
up,
was
like, oh,
I remember screaming
this. Is
this.
just the coolest.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah. That's what I'm saying. The most fun. Kids crying. No. Yeah, this is talking about like a party. Just. This is a reference
Alexa,
to the Beatles, John Lennon.
turn off.
All right.
Yeah, no, we're good. Sorry.
This was that's all right. It's part of the deal. This is bigger than this is a reference to the Beatles or John Lennon said something about being bigger than something, bigger than guns and bigger than cigarettes. Was that something?
I don't know if
And
that.
then- so that's when
yeah.
that's when he said bigger than the Beatles. I don't
Yeah.
know, maybe I thought that was kind of like a.
But this is the ultimate cool guy song. Yeah. That line. I remember when I was a busboy at Pizzeria Uno screaming that line. Girl, you make me sick. I hope your new boyfriend gets cancer in his dick. What the? Makes you think I put your name on my record there. Now I feel a lot better.
Yeah, that's definitely a sing along line no matter what. God damn, it's hard to pull these songs down and not.
It's impossible.
Yeah. This is a very emotional song. You know, this is a song you want to like dedicate to somebody as a young, immature, embarrassing.
Yeah.
You know, again, 21 was too old to be as emotionally invested into the lyrics of this. But it was like, yeah, it was like you said, oh, this is poetry. Yeah, it is. But you know,
And then you think about it. He's like 25, 26 when he's writing this stuff.
He's only that much old. Yeah.
He's not that much older. So, I mean, 25 and 26 to write something this like profound.
Yeah. Just so.
And
so
every song just one better than the next and one more detailed and metaphorical than the like. It's
Yeah.
like there's not too many people that have that type of talent.
It's just I don't know. It's an access to something that I didn't have at that age at all. You know, like just
No.
um,
I didn't think like that. I was a sports
not at all.
Yeah, I was a sports guy.
Still couldn't. I
No.
mean, it's like I do in the fact that I appreciate to listen to it, but I could never access that to write this stuff. I would feel like a fraud, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
how do you get past the point of like feeling like a fraud that you can just buy into yourself? Like, no, yeah, I'm like, I'm the next Bukowski, like, or like I'm a Jack Kerouac type.
But
Like,
I mean, you were able to do that with comedy a little bit, where
Yeah, but I just talk. But comedy it's so easy. It's so different. It's like you're literally just talking. I'm just myself on stage. I'm not. I don't.
True, but there's always that thought in the back of your head, like, did I hear this somewhere? Like, am I stealing this joke? Like, it's always that, like, because you don't know how you remember things. The brain does. You don't know how the brain works to the point where, like, and I think that all the time too. Like, either I'm at work or I'm like talking to somebody and I say something. I'm like, oh wow, did I come up with that? Like, is that something that I came up with, or did I hear that from somebody?
Right.
And I'm just regurgitating what they said.
Right. Well, because sometimes somebody can say something and you agree with it so much when they first said it, or that you
it hits you
before that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I guess a lot of times there's probably thoughts that are like little seeds that you haven't even really given thought to, but then somebody kind of just cracks them open. And yeah, that definitely happens a lot in comedy. And there's like comics that I know that have seen my act and I have seen do jokes similar to mine. I'm like, you've seen my act, right? Like you know what you're doing, a very similar joke that I've done.
Yeah.
But Robin Williams was famous for that. Like not he would say he didn't like steal a lot of jokes, but he would be in rooms where jokes were. And
I think Amy Schumer was in a lot of those rooms.
yeah. The other thing about that though, because I've seen those clips where they compare, like, none of the jokes that she's claimed to stolen were original enough to be like they're all. She's not like a groundbreaking like original comic, so like I could see her thinking of that because it's not super original, like nothing. I don't know.
Some of them were like dead on though, like some of the verbiage was like dead on, but I understand what you're saying. I'm just poking fun.
Well, Carlos
she's an easy target.
did that one where like the Bill Cosby joke was, such a.
And then like the end of the song, like he's talking about his parents. So I don't know who he's talking about like during the song.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the song, he's talking about his parents. So like okay, so is he talking about his mom the whole time? He's talking about his dad who died when he was young. I don't know.
Right.
Top 5 bass line in any hip hop song ever.
Have you learned this one? You played this one?
Years ago, I learned it. I could probably bust it out and mess around with it and figure it out probably in a couple hours.
Can you learn by ear? Can you play? Can you like just listen to a song? And
some stuff. Like if it's really
prominent.
If it's if I can hear it in the track really well. Like there's a couple. I know. What did the other day I was messing around with an Arcade Fire song. What the hell is the name of that song? It's on Creature Comfort. Boom, 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 boom.
Isn't that the song Creature Comfort? Is that?
Yes. That was the song, but that's not the song I'm talking about. I forget what the album was called, but the song, don't remember. I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah.
Oh, good goddamn.
Oh yeah. I know that. But that's a good bass line.
Yeah.
We're on different pages. I don't know who's gonna listen to this. I hope that somebody does. But I feel like the market is to share it to people who like the artist that we're talking about, so they can like, no, I had the similar. I can't imagine listening to this without knowing even who Atmosphere is and caring at all about two guys talking about this guy that I've never heard of. Although I like listening to people who are.
I like new stuff. Yeah.
I don't like Star Wars at all, and I won't listen to a Star Wars specific podcast, but I listen to a lot of podcasts where Star Wars comes up, and I like hearing people talk about something they love so much, like with passion. Like it's I'm like, oh, that's really cool that you love that much. Like I don't get it, but good on you for that.
I'm not the biggest Star Wars guy either. I think I've seen some of them, but then I found out Bill Burr was going to be in The Mandalorian. I'm like, all right, I got to check this out, and now I like The Mandalorian.
You watched it?
Yeah, I watched it. It was pretty good.
Yeah? Yeah. You don't need to watch like the other things to watch that?
No, I don't think they tie it together at all.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, not from what I can remember.
I just remember Nick DiPaolo once said, he was making fun of it, and he's like, why do I want to watch a vacuum cleaner talk to a bowling pin? I feel the exact same way.
I think he's been canceled too. I can't find him anywhere, man. He's been kicked off of every goddamn platform. He's become a crazy nut. Like him and Anthony Cumia, both of them.
Yeah, they're pretty wild.
Yeah.
Like it's funny because like they're still funny, but it's like it almost became too angry. Like it's gotta be funny still.
Yeah, I think it happens when like it's not even like I even find myself too like when someone hates. Like even like the whole Trump thing, like someone hates him so much. I'm like, I don't like the dude. I understand some of the stuff he says, like some of the stuff I agree with, but most of the stuff I think he's an idiot. But like when someone's so passionately hating him, I'm like, oh, I gotta take the other side. Like I gotta, like like someone can't be that horrible.
You're a contrarian.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
No what the end is, yeah.
Yeah. And
I can't do that. I definitely I hate him, but I can't give it enough energy.
No.
That everyone does. I'm like, yeah, okay, I hate him. I don't like. Yeah. It's not even worth talking about. Like I just hate him that it's like.
No, I don't have that. There's not enough time in the day for me to worry about one person. Like, how does it ruin your life? And I think what happened with them is that, like, they did like him, and everybody was so vehemently against him that they just turned total crazy. And like they're like, I have to, like, I'm gonna die on this hill. This is the hill I am going to die on, and that hill is Donald Trump. And I don't know how you can do that, but they're still funny as fuck, and I'd listen to them any day of the week, but.
Yeah. This is bass really stands out here.
There's a lot of good bass on this album. Because then you got Party for the Fight to Right.
Yeah. This what a interesting as in a production. Imagine being in a production studio and he comes up with this and he's like, yeah, I got these little bells that go off. Like he's like, okay, you're gonna rap over this?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then what are you gonna call this song?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're naming a title of a song, If I Was Santa Claus.
Yeah.
If I was a rich man, I'd buy you some shoes, tall boots for all the dirt you walk through. What would that do? Enable you to deal without schooling you on how to touch what's real?
Yeah, so I mean, I guess it's funny because like we're this deep into the podcast, we haven't really talked about if anybody didn't know Atmosphere, they wouldn't know much about it now, but it's like
They got a brief backstory.
Yeah, and for forever I was like, what are the odds that my favorite producer was Zant and then my favorite rapper, like they come together? Now it's different. Now my favorite rapper and my favorite producer are the same person.
Yeah.
And A$AP Rock.
Yeah, see, and I think that it just changes because I think Slug's always, Atmosphere's always going to be number one. I think A$AP like transitions into number one because like every single time he comes out with a new album, I'm like, good goddamn, this guy is just more and more incredible. He gets better every single time. And Atmosphere, like Slug's just changing his life. Like he's changing his life, so he's changing what he's rapping about. And it's not bad. It's just not what I remember him being. And I remember him being this just completely different person. And it was so good. And it just hit me in the right spot where now I love it. I like it. I'll always listen to it. But it's not going to affect me the way that this album or God Loves Ugly affected me.
Yeah. The new albums don't have the re-listenability that the new A$AP Rock albums have.
No.
But the old Atmosphere records will always
absolutely
be listenable. And it's also a matter of like when you found them, at that age when you found them. So it's just always going to be a special spot for. Yeah,
I found this album when I was 42, and it really changed my life. No, it's like when you're in your teens or 20s.
This is a line that I was embarrassingly like attached to it. I love giving, but I'm better receiving. I'd rather be the one bleeding. I was like related to that, and I look back now, I'm like, you dickhead. Like,
why I exist. I feel like a freak. This world is a circus. Just trying to find myself as well as my purpose. And if I was Santa Claus, I'd fight for the cause. Wouldn't expect nothing in return.
It's great. Let's try some aspiring sociopath. What a great name for a.
I always love that song title. I'm like
this one.
Yeah, just then I'm like, man. And then you like listen to the album, you're like, yeah, you sure as shit are.
Yeah. A little sample. I'll do a little sample from the rest of these songs. For Your Dead. Great song.
This is the ultimate driving song. Like he's talking about driving. Yeah, like he's talking about driving. And I'm like, you're in the car and this is a perfect driving song. It just works well. It's like you think he writes it while he's driving.
This is the take this job and give it to someone else, right? I mean he does that. Yeah, that's how many times this might be the most sung song, that part of it, because so many times I'm at work and that comes up. Take this job and give it to someone else. Corn on the cob is better when it's hot. With melted butter on top, it warms the soul. Yeah, I was just constantly. Where is that? Towards the end. Who sings that? Who sings that? Take this job and give it to someone else. It's an old song.
That I don't know.
Do we have an idea about that?
No, I don't have an idea about that.
Some country song or something. I don't know. And then boom.
Yeah.
I mean, so much fun.
He always did like the play on words. So he always like reversed the words to make it mean something different. Like he said like overstand. Like there's just like things like that where he just flipped it around, and you're like, how does he think of this stuff? And it's perfect.
Yeah.
This is probably the song that I would play somebody to get them into this album.
So?
Yeah.
maybe this might be my favorite song on the album, but I don't know that I would even I would do that. I would play this with somebody.
I think it's upbeat enough where it would
Yeah.
catch most people.
If I was at a party, I would like.
Yeah, this is the first song that comes on at the party. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously a take on the Beastie Boys song. He makes a good amount of references to the Beastie Boys, and or on 7 he covers that or uses that beat on the 7 Headshot 7, and another great title and just
Mama had a baby and his head popped off.
Premise for a song.
Yeah, he does have some doozies on this album as far as the titles go.
In the back of the car, waiting for the stars to snap. The scars on my cap remind me of
Like when the beat, I'm listening to the beat coming on this.
with a car full of anxiety, an angel's breast, and a tank top. She started at my heart. She's trying to make it stop. And if I
Haven't learned nothing.
then I've learned a lot. Mama had a baby and his head popped off. Give it up, turn it loose for the sake of life. If I knew now what I knew, then I'd make her my wife.
It's just, I mean, yeah, I would really love to know, even if he was, 30, really, honestly, at this age, like to have the kind of, I don't know.
I mean, just
look
the life
back on his
experiences. Yeah,
like
just
he even mentions, like, I don't know if it's on this album, he says, like, I think it's on God Loves Ugly, he says, I love your self-aware style. It's like, yeah, he's like super self-aware and just not, I'm not, I don't know, just obviously different than anything I had ever heard before. So,
I think he said something along the lines of like, I hated LL Cool J because he made an album that had 6 songs about girls on it, and then I made a song that had 8 songs, or an album that had 8 songs about girls on it.
No, he said he loved
something like that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
He said he loved LL Cool J was his favorite rapper.
Yeah.
And he goes, then he started writing songs about women. He goes, then I hated him. He goes, then ironically, I started rapping. He goes, all I ever did was rap about women.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah. And then this, They're All Gonna Laugh You. Wasn't that a Adam Sandler?
Yeah. It was an album,
Thing?
Adam Sandler album.
They're All Gonna Laugh You, right? Yeah.
It gets a little dark towards the end of this album.
Yeah, but I still love it though. Like,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You've only got till June. You find forced to watch you touch the torch to that spoon even one more time. I swear to God, I'm gonna implode. The sky's too high to hold, too thick to pet. So fold up the 2 bits and hide 'em in your wallet, in your pocket full of trauma.
Yeah, so some of these songs actually, when I look back, like at first listen, I didn't love every song on this album. I loved like the really palatable ones, and songs like this I didn't love at first, and it took me like some time. And now going back and listening to it, like where it wasn't, within a year, I grew to love even songs like this, or the ones that were less melodic.
Because we were so just enamored with the New York hip hop at that point, where it had to be like a certain type of
had to
beat,
be a
I think,
rhythm
to
it,
kind of
Yeah.
And on a lot of these songs didn't have that, but then after a while, just like his voice over these tracks was perfect, and he was always on point. And no matter what time it was in, or like what speed it was always, he was always right on the money.
Yeah. Could rap fast, could rap slow. He could try to sing every once in a while.
Yeah.
He didn't do that till later on. Like later on in his career, he started like singing his own choruses and stuff like that.
It's like Kanye.
I mean, but he always did it. Like I feel like every time he ever sung, it was always a little bit tongue in cheek. Like he never really thought he was like.
Yeah, he's making fun of
doing it.
himself.
Yeah. No, this is the take this job and give it to someone else.
This is it. Yeah.
This is it. Yeah. This as soon as it beat. Yeah, that's right. Take this job and give it to someone else. That's what I was looking for.
And then she's a loner, Dottie. She's a rebel.
Right.
What's that from? That's from something.
From Pee Wee.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah.
Pee Wee Herman. Yeah.
Is that? Yes, is it? Yeah. Jumping around. I'll find it. There we go.
Corn on the cob.
Yeah, this is it's a very oftenly sung part of a song. Yeah,
And then they have this just closes the album out. I mean, there's one more song I think after this, but this just closes the album out. It's like you thought the first like 13. So. Yeah, it seems like it's ending credits. Like this is like the ending credits of the album, and you're like, oh, you thought the rest of the album was good. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I'm really gonna blow your mind. Was there a music video with this? If not, I think I've written or like visualized what this music video would be 100 times.
Probably because you were in film school at the time or shortly after that, and you probably thought this would be a great music video.
Yeah, so if I had any type of like Adobe After Effects skills or anything like that, where you could like I would just picture like the tattoo like coming off of her arm and like moving around her body, and that's like the video, and him just like sitting in the corner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to get an Atmosphere tattoo, but I could never think of the image to do that. And then they actually just put out the God's Bathroom Floor. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I like that album. Like, when am I get that whole? I'm gonna get that whole album on my back. So this is an interesting, like, all made up. I think, right? This isn't like his story, right?
No, definitely not.
Yeah. So like, this was confusing. Listening to this, like, oh, his father died in an elevator.
Because his dad died before his mom, from what I understand, and then this song, his mom died first. So.
Okay.
And I don't think he grew up on a farm.
No. Yeah. So that's this, and then if you skip ahead,
who raps on this? Is it Jaybird?
LP raps on this. Yeah. Yeah, but Jay Bird was always on tour with them.
Yeah.
It was like,
I think he owns doesn't he own Rhyme Sayers?
Not completely. I think.
Him and Slug,
I think there's four of them. It's, Sadiq, I think, and
that's
Slug,
right.
And
yep.
I think Jay Bird, yeah. And then it was Brett Sayers.
Yes.
It was Brett Sayers.
Sayers, that's where they got the Rhyme Sayers,
Yeah. This is good. I like LP. I've grown to like LP more and more. I wasn't. Not that I didn't like him. I just didn't get much into him then. Like, I wasn't, I didn't just know much about him. But yeah,
I really thought this was going to be a two-parter. It's not turning into a two-parter.
Yeah, I thought about that when I was thinking, like, oh, we should split up since it's like 2 EPs, and I looked into it. I'm like, yeah, but it wasn't just like, they didn't just take 2 EPs and like stack them on top of each other.
Yeah.
If they would have done that, I just would say, let's do, Ford 1 episode and Ford 2 another episode.
And we could certainly break down every single song and go through it and make it 2, but I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. I could pause after every lyric. I could pause back, and then what am I gonna do? Like, wasn't that cool? Was that a cool lyric? Like, I don't know.
Do you remember when?
We do the Chris Farley version of a podcast. Remember when you were in the Beatles? Yeah.
That was awesome.
That was awesome. So that was it. Yeah, Lucy Ford. I'm sure this will be first of many Atmosphere albums that we talk about, and we've talked about our love of Atmosphere so much in this album. We've kind of burnt that, so we'll have to talk about the actual albums more than which is fine. I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, but this one just set up how we fell in love with Atmosphere.
Yeah. Well, I would even like to go back and cover some of those songs that we heard pre this.
Yeah, I mean,
talk about
God's Bathroom Floor will always be number 1 for me. Yeah. It's always going to be my favorite song. I don't think he could write anything that's going to be better than that.
Which is funny because, first of all, not produced by Ant,
which is just crushed my life.
Heartbreaking. Yeah, it really is heartbreaking. It's like, it shouldn't matter, but it does matter.
I'll just scribble it out on the cover and write Ant in there.
When we talk about lyrically, it's not lyrically dense. It's not like he does, like it's kind of just repeats a lot of the same stuff, but it just fits together so perfectly. But it's not like
his cadence.
He's so wordy normally, and he's not on that album. So it's so funny that that's one of my favorite songs ever, but it's nothing like another Atmosphere song. So like and
just his cadence in the song is what makes it, because and then when he does it live. I think the reason why I like it so much is just like the way he changes it just a little bit.
Yeah,
like he changes everything a little bit when you do it live. And just like how it's just like we would like echo what he's saying because everybody knew what the next line was, which made me, which really pissed me off when he did that. Like re-released the Montreal version. I'm like, nobody knows this. How does nobody know this?
Yeah, it might have been the way that it was mic'd. Maybe they do like sometimes you feel like
maybe
it's tough to mic a crowd properly.
But you would think you would hear it a little bit. Like it was like half cheers, like when he, like half the people cheered when he said the song.
That's what I tell myself because sometimes I would record my sets and I wouldn't hear any laughter, and I was just like, oh, probably just because
bad mic.
The mic. The audience wasn't mic'd well. That must have been what it was. Because I swear to God, there was laughs in the room.
They must have had the mic next to the one guy not laughing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. Well.
Episode 3 in the books.
That was that album. Yeah. Brilliant. I was thinking too, like we really should have picked albums we don't like very much to start with to try to get better at this, because I'm sure we'll get better and more entertaining as they go, and it's like we're burning through.
I probably won't.
Albums. Or it won't.
I said I probably won't.
I would love to add humor as they go or whatever, but I'm just trying to get comfortable in the format of it, talking. But it's a shame that we're talking about these albums I love so much and not as good as we will hopefully will get at doing this. So I'm all for revisiting these albums that we've done early on and doing it again if we feel like we're better and can serve them more.
Maybe more production value too, if possible.
Yeah, I think going through and picking out some time cues for the songs is a good idea, and looking up some other things about it. Yeah. Right. So any ideas for the next album that you want to do?
I said we go straight to Magnum Force.
All right, that's a good idea. Let's get to the namesake of the podcast. That's a good idea. That's actually I like that a lot. Yeah. All right.
And I remember I had my dad's '87 Chevy pickup, and I just changed out the CD player, and he had to move my car one day out of the driveway because we had that little single strip driveway, and he comes back in, and I overheard him talking to my mom. He goes, I don't know what he's listening to, but the N-word was said a lot of times. And then I get back in the car, and it's what is the name of the song? Wild? No. Damn it! Now I ruined the whole story just because I just fucking dropped an anchor on it. It doesn't matter. Call of the Wild. Yeah, Call of the Wild.
Okay.
Yep.
I feel like that it wouldn't matter.
No, it could be any song on the album.
It could be any song on that album. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is funny.
They said the N-word a lot.
Yeah. I'm glad you had that truck. That's right. Yeah. That truck.
I drove a golf cart into the side of it and dented the whole thing.
Really?
Yeah, I put my golf bag down on it and it hit the gas. And it was like a runaway golf cart. There it goes, right into the side of the truck. Perfect.
Yeah.
But,
all right.
Well,
Force,
Magnum Force.
Episode 4. And
this goes out to.
Great. Yeah. And send me the stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Beef with blue cheese. Thanks for listening.
Good night.
Good night. Bye-bye.